welcome back to yet another episode of Life Seasons Podcast. So excited to have you guys joining us and excited to have yet another guest, exciting guest and exciting conversations. If you are joining us for the first time, this is a podcast where we talk everything life, everything the seasons of life, with the hope of just bringing transformation, change, inspiration. That's really what we just want to do here on this podcast. So today's episode, we just want to talk about conversations around salvation. What does it look like to stay the course? Our guest today, Maria, will be sharing her story and just what her journey and her walk with Christ looks like. So I hope this encourages you. I hope this speaks to you in whatever space you are in, whatever point of the journey you are with and your walk with Christ. We hope that this speaks to you. All right, so welcome, Maria.
Thank you. Thank you for having
So happy
me.
to have you join us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think where I would love us to start, actually one thing I wanted to read, and we'll talk about this book as we continue with this conversation. Just a small quote from this book: as we make the decisions to believe Jesus and place our whole lives in his hands, we are making a declaration of our faith. Our faith will shape and fashion us. We grow in our faith through studying the Bible, spending time with God in prayer, living in community with other believers whose faith and relationship with God sharpens ours. We have nothing to give the world without Jesus.
Amen.
Amen. So, Maria, before we even come into all this goodness that is
Yes.
in this book, what was your walk like? I mean, before you had all this wisdom and all this amazing good
Yes.
stuff, what did your life look like before maybe meeting Christ?
I think it was dark, honestly. So I grew up in a Christian household, Anglican background. But as soon as I had the chance to stop going to church, I stopped. And I think I struggled the way any teenager would, the way any child would.
Yeah.
So yeah, before that, it was just going through the motions. We go to church as a family because you don't have an option. But I didn't have a personal relationship with God. Yeah.
Oh, nice. I mean, I can totally relate to that. Growing up in a Christian
Yeah.
home, I mean, church was not an option for us. We went to
Yeah.
church every Sunday. Come
Yes.
rain, come shine. You are showing up there. So I'm just curious to just know, at what point did you then maybe start, is there anything that happened in your life that made you start to feel like, there's something off? Yeah.
I think it was campus years. So I'd been in a relationship. It was about 3 years. Toxic, abusive, all the things. I'd failed campus, so I was in third year with my 1.7 GPA. So yeah, failed campus. Then that relationship ended, and it ended abruptly and ended badly. So for years, like since childhood, like I was always looking for something.
Yeah.
And looking for God in people, but not finding him. So campus, when this relationship ended, I was just like, okay, who am I? And then in that season, I had a lot of friends, but no one really knew what I was struggling with. And that was a point when I was doing these modeling things.
Yeah, I think that's actually
how we met.
Do you know, I actually have a very vivid memory of you. I think we're in the car somewhere. I'm not sure what state we were in.
Yes.
We were probably just not very
Yes.
okay at the time. And I just remember you were in the car and you were leaning on the seat. Imagine, that's all I remember.
Really?
Yeah, and I have no idea where we were going. But probably one of
see
those
that.
modeling
Yes.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, and so for me, that was another avenue for like seeking validation. I wanted to feel worthy. I wanted to feel loved.
Yeah.
And that was like a place and a platform that you get all this attention and love, but it was empty.
True.
So I remember during that time, we'd go for all these gigs, we'd go for all these parties, these very exclusive kind of things. But I'd go home and I would just be like, yes, everyone's passed out. We're all in the same room, passed out. Like 6 a.m. was when we were getting back. And I was just like, there has to be something more than this. And so I remember during one of these events, we had come from a night out and then we got into an accident.
Oh no.
Yeah, and that was a season when in campus people are just dying in car accidents.
I remember that. Like
Yes.
almost, it was so creepy because almost every week you come to
Yes,
school
yeah.
and there's that picture of somebody, and sometimes it's people you knew,
Yes, yeah.
or people you were with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I remember by then, like, when you feel like God had begun tugging. So maybe 3 months before that, or 4 months, I remember my mom. So again, Anglican background. Salvation is not as much of a conversation there.
Okay.
But I remember this day I was hungover early in the morning on a Sunday. My mom sends like this mass message to everyone. And she's like, praise the Lord, everyone. I have received Christ into my heart. I am a new creation. I was like, what does this even mean? And I was laughing right there.
Yeah.
But I was just like, what is this woman talking about?
Yeah.
But after that, I began seeing a change in her life. And I'm like, okay, I think she's on to something. So that's like planted a seed in me. And so even during these seasons of going out, I remember buying a devotional book. Back then when TuneIn used to be at Yaya and another store that used to be there, I think it was New Day or something. I went and bought a devotional book. Because for me, my limited knowledge of faith is like, I just need to go through the motions. I just need to read these.
Yeah.
So I remember even in that accident losing that devotional book because I used to carry it with me everywhere. So I'm living this life, but I'm yearning for something else.
Right.
And then, this one day, I think everything came crashing down. I failed campus, had to move back home to my parents' house with no degree.
Yeah.
Relationship is over. This modeling world and friends, it's not giving me any satisfaction. And I was deeply depressed. And I couldn't tell anyone around me.
Yeah.
And I honestly look back and I think everyone around me was broken.
Yeah.
But we didn't know how to talk about our brokenness.
That's true.
And so I remember this one time I reached out to my friend who was living in Namibia at the time. And I had known her since class 3. And so she sent me a message, a sermon online on YouTube. And so I'm back in my parents' house, I failed campus, and like 11 p.m. in the night, I listened to it. And for the first time, I could relate with God. And because growing up in the faith tradition that I did, there's kind of like a distance between you and God. He didn't feel personal. Church felt boring, not relatable, just out of touch with reality. But I felt like God saw me and loved me in that moment. So at my parents' house, in my room, those 4 corners, and I said, God, I've tried everything. I was battling an alcohol addiction at that time as well. I have all this trauma from abuse. And so I said, God, I've tried everything else. You're my last hope. I'm trying you.
Yeah.
And so that was the thing that made me give my life to Christ.
Oh, nice. So when you reached out to your friend in Namibia, is there something that you told her that prompted her to send you this sermon? It was just a usual, hi, how are you doing?
I just said, I'm feeling really low, I'm depressed. And I think my mom, because moms know, they have that intuition. So my mom had been sensing something is off. So I remember her buying me a book like something to do with your life will get better or how to get out of something.
Yeah.
And one of my friends had come to pick me up for us to go for drinks. And she saw that book and just laughed. And so I knew that I wasn't safe to share like what I was really struggling with anyone close.
Yeah.
Maybe someone who's far away.
Yeah.
And so that's when I told her.
Yeah. I just want to touch on something you said, that the people, this life, you are modeling and doing all the things. But I guess what is someone from the outside looking at you? What are they seeing?
They're not seeing anything because you become very good at masking. At masking everything. And because I was struggling so much, I would drink from like 9 a.m. till evening, Monday through Sunday. So you really wouldn't pick up on anything.
Okay.
Maybe someone who knows me, I'm very introverted and I'm quieter. So maybe you'll just be like, what's going on? But otherwise, you really wouldn't see a difference. Yeah.
And when you say like the people, looking back now, I guess because maybe there's a different lens. Looking back now, the people who are broken. What are some of the things that would tell somebody like, hey, I'm not okay. I'm doing all the things. I'm having fun. I have all these friends and we're laughing because had you mentioned I laughed. So it's not that there was the absence of laughter. But what does that brokenness look like?
I feel like it looks like numbing yourself. So this past week, there's a procedure I needed to get done. And so I needed like anesthesia and stuff to numb me. And so every time like the doctor would poke, I'll be like, okay, that's a painful spot. And then they'll increase the dosage of anesthesia to numb so they can perform the procedure.
Okay.
And so I think in that world, it looks like increasingly numbing yourself. Whether it's you're drinking more than you normally would.
Yeah.
You are passing on from relationship to relationship. You are, I don't know, there's a way that you even present yourself that it's like you're looking for attention and for love.
Yeah.
If you're angrier than you normally are.
Right.
Yeah, like there's a bit of a temper. If you're not able to wake up in the morning like you would. Yeah, those are all some of those signs.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes we numb ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever you see someone doing such things. Yeah.
And when I think of the world today, I feel like it's there's so many options of masking. I mean, there's even social media. There's so many options where you're really not able to. Sometimes you can, but you're really not able to tell somebody who is broken because there are so many distractions, options, friends, parties, events.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so real because I think even in this space of young adult ministry, there's people I see posting online and they share the most beautiful trip they've been on, all these great family photos. And then on DMs, when you're talking, they're like, I'm depressed. I want to take my life. And you just realize there's such a disconnect between how we present ourselves and what's going on.
Really happening.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's go back to this room. You've told God, I've tried everything else. And I want to give you a shot. What then happened? What unfolded after that?
Some things happened immediately, others didn't. Next day that I woke up, I knew something was different, but the life around me wasn't different. Like, yes, I've made this decision.
Yeah.
There's a peace that's there that wasn't there. There's a joy that's there that wasn't there. But my friends were the same.
Yeah.
The relationship was still the same. I was still in the same mess in the physical.
Right.
So I remember, even with campus, I still had to figure out what I was doing. So internally there's something God was doing, but externally, even the struggles I had were still there. Yeah.
Okay. So what like maybe just take us through some of the steps, because I'm sure there's somebody who is in campus, maybe they're getting the GPAs that you're getting, they are looking to change their life, but as you said, it's everything else is the same. What's happening in the physical is the same. So how do you begin then to navigate friendships, especially friendships? Maybe let's touch on that.
Friendships I think was the hardest one to date. It was still one of the hardest ones because when you're giving your life to Christ, no one else understands. Like there's something that's happening internally within you that you can't even explain to someone. So I remember one of the biggest challenges was beginning to distance myself from some of my friends.
Right.
By God's mercy, I think I gave my life to Christ in August. And by January of the next year, I was leaving to go to another country to start my degree again.
Okay.
So when I left, I cut off everyone. I got off social media. I changed my numbers. Like I just cut off my friends. Which was hard. But in between then, they will of course still reach out like, are we going for drinks? Are we going out? And I'm like, guys, I can't.
And what was their reaction? Like, hey, what is it?
Because I feel like I did the same thing my mom did. I think I made like a very bold declaration at some point.
Okay.
Even online. And people are like, this is a phase. It's because this relationship didn't work out.
That you're heartbroken.
Yeah, I'm heartbroken. That's why I have turned to God. She'll come back. So everyone just thought I'll come back. And I didn't come back. There are people who are patient with me. There's friends even I have till now who are not really believers or are still in and out that were patient with me, that still loved me for me. And then there's others who just didn't understand it. And there's those that mocked it.
And what was that like for you? Like you've just made this step or declaration. And there's also uncertainty there. You have no idea what that's going to look like. I mean, there's no one has told you. So if you choose this, then the promise is you will now forever be okay. I mean, there's no like certainty also in this journey. I guess it's a new thing. It's something you knew about. But maybe it's still new for you. So facing, mockery or friends who are just like, she'll come back. What was that like? Was there any point where you felt like maybe masking so that you can balance the two, so that you can, maybe when you're with them, you still want to not make anybody feel awkward. But when you're back alone, you now are like sold out to God.
It was a little bit of both. So the biggest struggle was on the relationship side.
Okay.
Because I had gotten out of that
Yeah.
other relationship. And then, of course, because I was still numbing myself, I got into another one with someone who was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And knew how to use all the scriptures to make me think we're on the same page.
Yeah, okay.
And me thinking that I'm the one who's going to convert him and we're going to love Jesus together. So that one was the harder one for me to walk out. That's the one where I think I still compromised a lot. But with friendships, it was a bit easier to be able to now slowly begin to walk away from.
Yeah.
Only because I remember the emptiness I felt when I had friends and I can't express what I'm going through. That I was just like, you know what, it's better to just be even alone, because I've been alone amongst people before. Yeah.
Okay, so then you moved countries.
Yeah.
You've cut everybody off. Do you feel like this gave you a new slate?
It did.
It did.
Honestly, it was the grace of God and the kindness of God, because he knew that in my own strength, I wouldn't be able to leave my friends.
So then how did that even happen? So you told your parents you failed and they were just like, here's a ticket to a new country and just start over.
Yeah, oh no. And this is where we see God as a defender.
Right.
And the one who intervenes on our behalf. Because I was looking for campuses. I had to find another campus to begin my degree. And I was going to go to one that's close to home. But somewhere, I had a friend who was applying to now this country. And I just applied for fun, by the way. I was like, let's just apply. And all of us had failed. So all of us were looking for different campuses. And I just presented to my parents, and for some reason they're like, it's okay. We have my dad's, one of his siblings lives there, so there's family. And so I think God just did something in their heart, and I think they saw how much I'd gone through. When they finally understood, this is why her behavior was like this, this is trauma and all these other experiences, that they just released me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I like what you said, just how God then begins to show up as your defender and just slowly starts to align things to allow you to even leave and start over.
Yeah.
So what did starting over look like?
It was humbling and very lonely.
Okay.
Because here I was going into 4th year when I was on campus here. But I'm going to this country and I'm going into foundation, not even 1st year.
Yeah.
So you're going to be with kids. So being older in that space. But I was also very lonely with friendships. Because the campus I went to was no different in this.
Okay.
The culture was the same. The partying, the drinking was exactly the same. But I was different. And I knew how easily I get swayed. So I said, you know what, for me, it's going to my class and back to my room. And it's going to be me and my sermons online and learning God and learning the Bible. So it looked like for a good almost 2 years, I didn't have friends. Yeah.
What was that like? I just feel like I can absolutely relate to that. I remember days when, I hadn't fully committed to living life with Christ. My phone was always buzzing. If you went somewhere, you knew almost everybody. And it felt like, I have friends, I have community. And then deciding to change my life. I remember that days you just leave your phone, you come back, it's not rang.
At all.
It's and to be honest, there are days, even today, I feel like there are times I have battled loneliness. And I'm like,
absolutely.
This life.
Yeah.
Why did I even have to separate myself from these people?
Yeah.
Could I have just been pursuing God and still hanging out with these people? Why? Let me just ask, why do you feel, okay, I know one thing you said is you're easily swayed. But maybe for anyone else who's listening, do you feel like there's reasons why sometimes God separates us from what we once knew?
Sometimes it's because there's sin that needs to be cut out. Even when Jesus says, if your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. But there's an element of sometimes God needs to remove you for a season because he needs to grow you and strengthen you and mature you to go back to those same people for the sake of now their salvation or them encountering Christ. So sometimes it's recognizing it's just for a season that I need to be separated, that God can speak to me, because when you have people around, it's too loud to hear God's voice.
That's true. You still then would find yourself with the same distractions, and then like you said, maybe the temptations would come your way. Because I also remember when I had chosen to cut out some things like partying or drinking.
Yeah.
If I did, so there was a period where I would still hang out with like the friends I used to know.
Yeah.
But there was always the offering, like
Just one. Yeah.
Like it's not gonna, I mean, not gonna hurt.
Yeah.
So I feel like I see why sometimes the separation allows us to forget the former things.
Yeah.
And begin to work on this renewal of mind.
Yeah.
And that's probably even what I want to, us to talk about now. You've talked about now, you're in this season, it's quiet.
Yeah.
It's 2 years of just going to school and coming back to your room.
Yeah.
What was, just maybe paint a picture of what was happening in your world then?
It was, of course, now these sermons were like teaching me the word and forcing me to have to pick up my Bible and understand it. It was also prayer, but I think the biggest thing God did during that time was identity, because my identity issues are what made me keep seeking all these things, all these people. So it was God trying to teach me, this is who you are as my child. This is what I think of you, that you are loved, that you're forgiven, that all these things.
Yeah, I think identity is such a big thing.
Yeah.
Because then we've either we've previously picked on what or who we are based on maybe the number of friends you have, the kind of parties you're maybe being invited to, the lifestyle you're living.
Yeah.
So what began to change for you? What things? What do you feel like? What was the previous identity that you probably carried that God began to shift within you?
I think one big thing was that I'm enough. And again, because of like that whole modeling world where everything is just face value. It's how you dress, it's your makeup, how you present yourself. And I remember for a season, God stripping all of that off and learning to love yourself without any of the makeup, without the hair, without all this attention on you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a season of really trying, of God really speaking identity, speaking value. Yeah.
Okay. And how did you figure out even how to spend time with him? Because it's you and him. I remember there were times you're just like, now which book do I even read? Okay, let me just open. Okay, this is the one I'll read today. How did you start to figure out how do I spend time with God? Yeah.
Partly it's the sermons I was watching, but then also church. So even before I left the country, I'd already found a church, and I did this immersive program. I think it was maybe 6 weeks or so, of just like a discipleship program.
Okay.
So that gave me some tools, at least to start off. When I got to the new country, I had to find a new church as soon as possible again.
Okay.
So those were also very helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why was that such an urgent thing? Like, I have to find a new church.
Yeah. I feel like I needed covering in terms of just people around me. It didn't mean that we had to be besties. But I also felt like I needed to grow alongside other people. And I feel like there's people who knew more about God than I did.
Okay.
So I was just starting my journey, and like I was willing to learn from anyone. There was a hunger that was there to know God, and a willingness to learn from whoever knows God.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say your friendship criteria changed? Like,
absolutely.
You are like, you need to know God. What did it change to?
I think it's rearranged some of my friendships. So like, you know how you can have, these are my inner circle, these are my outer. So there's people who are in the inner that had to come to the outer for a season. And then there's a vacancy in there for like position open, but then no one to fill it. Yeah. So I felt like the friendships I was looking for are people who loved God, of course, but then people who weren't doing certain things. The things that I knew I struggled with. That was the one thing I was just like, I can't go back.
Was there, aside from friendships, was there any other habit that you feel was really difficult to maybe you battled with God on?
I think the area of relationships was a hard one, of battling with God, trying to negotiate with God. I'm like, okay, God, if you just let me stay in this relationship, and then that was one area. But then alcohol was a big issue in my life, and I some things fell off over time. And, you know, that for me, that's still a day by day. It's not one of those things I say, like, I have overcome, I have complete victory. There's still hard days. And there's days where I'm just like, I feel like I need a drink. And for those days, I have my people, like, shout out Mwende, who I am able, people who are older than me, who are more mature in their faith, who are safe people that I can say, yes, here I am in my faith. Yes, I'm stronger and more mature, but I still struggle. And in this moment, I feel like I need this. Yeah, so people I'm able to share my struggles with. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is, even as the old begins to fall off, there are still things that one will continue to battle with in secret. And then you need somebody who you can be honest and open with and be like, the flesh is still fleshing. And it's still trying to pull me back into this space. And I need accountability.
And you need to recognize you can't do it in your own strength. And you need the power of God. And so I don't know if you like books. But there's this book from one of the Chronicles of Narnia. There's one specific one where there's a young boy who turned into a dragon because I think he fell into some kind of temptation. He touched something he wasn't supposed to, then was cursed. And so in the story, there's a lion who now is meant to depict Christ, Aslan. And so this boy is trying to like cut through with his talons to cut through the scales. And so he tries, and because he's been told to dip himself in the water. And so he tries, the first time it comes back. And so now Aslan, like the lion, says, I must be the one to undress you. And so he cuts through him, and it's so painful for him. But when he dips himself in that water, now those scales finally fall off. So it has to be Christ who cuts things out of us. We have no power.
And it's a painful process.
It's very painful. Yes.
I feel like when I look at, I do notice an increase in, you know, more and more people professing Christ, and more people, you know, saying they know God. I feel like maybe sometimes the disconnect is the painful part where we truly surrender all. You know, there's so many times I feel convicted when I'm singing that song for I surrender all. And I'm like, have I really surrendered all? Because it's a painful process of letting God enter every area of our lives. And it's not easy. It's, as we said, lonely. I'm just wondering where I want to go next with this conversation. I think I wanted to focus on that painful aspect. And just allowing God to... How do we allow God to enter those spaces and begin to cut us? How do we allow him to be the one to do that? And
I feel like it takes time because there's no one who knows our hearts like God. We only know bits and parts. So sometimes you'll think, again, you've surrendered everything, and to the best of your knowledge, it's everything. Until now it touches... God asks for more. I think he's constantly asking for more, not because he's not a good God, but because he's constantly refining us. Because you know how, I think it's 2 Corinthians, I could be wrong, when it says, we with unveiled faces behold contemplate, and have been transformed from one degree of glory to another. And so for that next degree of glory, it's going to mean another level of surrender. And that level of surrender is going to mean more death. And when Christ calls us, like, and he says, come, pick up your cross, it's an instrument of death. And so practically what that looks like, it means every single day inviting God, dying and inviting God, and constantly asking God, like how the psalmist asked, search me and know me, and show if there's any wicked way in me. So there has to be a constant searching, and he's always willing to show us more.
Wow. How do we, because I think one thing you said is that your friends, what you knew before was they were cut out for a season. How do we, as we maybe walk this walk, pull others in? Is it our duty to do that? How have you navigated that?
I feel like there's an element of where it's our duty to do that. When Matthew 28, when Jesus talks about go ye and make disciples of every nation, I think sometimes why we hesitate of bringing friends or bringing people along the journey is, again, when you're living a double life. And so how do you tell your friend, like, don't, okay, like, come with me to church, but like, but you're also with me in the club. Why should I be coming you? Like, why should I have to give up this life? You have not given it up.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes that's where the enemy gets us, where when we compromise, we can't be able to be effective witnesses. But I also think you don't have to be a theologian to bring someone along on your journey.
Okay.
And so that means whatever you're learning in God in that moment, you're inviting, like, hey, this is what I learned this week.
Yeah.
And living it out. They have to see it lived out in our lives before anything. Yeah.
I really like that. And I see why. The reason for us, first of all, being separated from these people that we love,
Yeah.
friends that we knew, it's because we first have to be a testimony to them.
Yes.
Like, I can't be doing the same things with them
Yeah.
and then expect to testify to them and tell them about this Jesus that I've met and how, my life has changed, because then they're seeing, okay, but you're still, doing what we are doing.
Yeah.
So what has changed in you? So we sort of need to be an inspiration to the people who may not know him.
Yeah.
And then slowly bring them into life.